we're in an industry where something needs to get done at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, we have to do it. And maybe that next day is a little bit slower and you can go golfing. But today we're working till midnight because that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that people know how our industry is and accept that that's how it's going to be sometimes.
So what's up, guys? Today we're here with the broker owner of Greenhaven Capital, Kevin Oto, and we're just going to shoot a little interview today.
Cool. Thanks for having me today, Brandon.
So Kevin, really quickly, tell me a little bit about yourself. What's your story, and how did this all happen?
Well, um, I'm a local Sacramento native, grew up in the Pocket area, pretty much been here my whole life. Um, Went to UCI for college in the early 2000s, graduated like 2003. Came back, didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be in business somehow, but didn't know really what kind of business I wanted to do. So came back was kind of just throwing up ideas around, and then some of my buddies were actually working for a mortgage company at the time. They seemed to be doing pretty well. They're like, "Hey, you should just come check us out." Went over there. Didn't quite know what to expect, but immediately I did like the culture. It was real hustle and bustle. I like the fact that the harder you work, the more you can earn. There's no real potential. There's no ceiling, and at the same time, we're able to help people. So I like that. I got the job. First 3 months, I just learned, and did really well my first 3 months at this company. Moved up, and stayed there for about a year, and then after that, I joined another brokerage. Went to that brokerage. I just learned the whole broker side of the mortgage business. Stayed there about 2.5 years, and then 2008 hit. Market crash. That company went under. I'm like, shit, I don't know what to do now. I only know one thing. So went out on a limb, started my own mortgage company. Very humble beginnings, working out of a bedroom. And almost 15 years later, here we are now. So that's kind of the short story how I got in the mortgage business.
Yeah, no, I've definitely heard stories about your humble beginnings, literally out of like garages and bedrooms. All right, Kevin. So, what's your why? Like, what motivates you, gets you up in the morning? Like, what is it that sparks that?
Well, first, it's my family. I want to do well for them. I want to set a good example. I want to work hard. I've always had a very competitive spirit as well. Like, I always want to win. I want to be on top. I want to be the best. And at the same time, I always want to help people. I'm very selfless in the sense that, I want to make sure my clients are taken care of. I'm glued to my phone, which could be bad because I always feel like I have to respond right now. So it's just, I'm motivated by wanting to do better every day, getting better, helping my clients, making sure my family's taken care of. And at the same time, just setting a good example for, everyone that I come around, whether it's my family, my friends, my associates, you guys. It's not just about money. It's about just having those positive relationships and just helping other people succeed, whether it's buying a house or helping real estate agents get better or helping my team get better. That's what motivates me.
And that was one of like the vibes that I initially got from you when I first met you. Now, going back to that though, was there someone in your life that kind of did that for you?
I mean, I think that was kind of just those values were instilled with me when I grew up. My parents, they're not business owners or anything, but they always kind of kept me on the right path, told me to do the right thing, and just treat others like you would want to be treated. Um, my dad, one of his good friends, was a business owner, so he was just like the Robert Kiyosaki figure in my life. The rich dad, poor dad. He owned a really big business, and he was always very humble. Like this guy, he owned a huge nursery, owned like 50 semi trucks. It was a huge wholesale nursery that he owned. But I remember when he coached us in basketball, he would drive like a 20-year-old beater car every day. He was very humble, but he was very hardworking, very successful, and I always kept that in my back of my head. So I think he taught me how to stay humble and grounded, and my family always instilled good values in me.
Oh, so you literally had the rich dad poor dad in your lifestyle.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
yeah. So yeah, Robert Kiyosaki is like, he's one of the guys that I actually look up to because of that. So
Is he one of your favorite authors, or is that your favorite book, Rich Dad Poor Dad?
growing up, I think once I kind of read the book and listened to the audio, that kind of put things in perspective to me.
Hmm.
You know, the poor dad, philosophy works for a lot of people, working the 9 to 5, just grinding and, just having a different mindset and just opening yourself up to realize that there's really no limit on what you can achieve. It's just all mental. You
Yeah,
got to get rid
yeah.
of the block and you have to realize that, sky's really the limit. And I see guys my age, like Matt Ishbia, that guy, he owns UWM. He's maybe a year or two older than me, around my age. That guy just bought the Phoenix Suns. So, I mean, That guy is crushing it. I mean, he's the guy I look up to in our industry. He's done so much. He's been in the industry the same amount as I have, and yet he's accomplished so much more. So we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's just how you utilize those hours and having a growth mindset.
And then when did you develop like this growth mindset when everything in the books, cuz you can read the same book 10, 20 times, and every single time that you're reading it, depending on your age or your experiences, it's really building on you. You know, you utilize these new tools. When did this actually like sink in for you personally?
I mean, it's in baby steps because usually it's like, oh, can I start my own business? Oh, I think I can do it. Oh, maybe I can get my own office now, or can I hire another processor? So for me, it's real baby steps. It's not, I was never like, hmm, I'm going to be the next billionaire. I never really thought that. It's just always baby steps. For me, that's what limited me. I wish I had the more of the growth mindset. Like, hey, why am I, you know, only doing 10 loans? I could be doing 1,000 if I hired, 50 LOs. I didn't see it.
Mm.
But once you see other people do it and you get a grasp of the field and you feel like you can add value to these people, like the more knowledge and education I get, the more I feel like I can add value to these people to make them want to come so I can grow, so they can grow. So for me, it's a slow process, but it's based on value that I can add. I just don't want a lot of people so I could try to make a lot of money. I want to make sure that they're in a good position. And if they're trusting me to help them grow, like I want to make sure I can do that for them and deliver.
So how do you decide which person's the right person for that position? When you're actually picking your team, like how do you grow that and choose each individual?
It's really hard to hire people you don't know who's the right fit or not. But, sometimes you just get a certain vibe from people. But I just want to make sure they fit our culture. Most importantly, like I want to make sure people are focused on relationships over transactions. I can't focus on, I don't want people that are just focused on making a lot of money on one transaction. And I want people to focus on the relationships and fostering those relationships. I want to make sure that people are honest and ethical. I want to make sure that people communicate well, that they just do the right thing. So it really just comes down to being a good overall person
Hmm.
and being a hard worker. Like in our industry, it's not really the 9 to 5 industry. It's not weekly check out, right? It's like we're in an industry where something needs to get done at 7 or 8 o'clock at night. We have to do it. And maybe that next day is a little bit slower and you can go golfing. But today we're working till midnight because that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that people know how our industry is and accept that that's how it's going to be sometimes.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
like last year I called you at like, 9 p.m. on at Thanksgiving, and you gladly answered the phone, answered any questions that me and my clients had, and you just hit it off.
I mean, honestly, like when people are buying houses, this is probably like one of the biggest financial decisions they're going to make. And if I'm available, I'm gonna pick up my phone and I'm gonna try to help. Because I don't clock out. That you don't clock out either.
No, no, of
We're
course not.
always working. That phone rings, it's your client. You want to answer and you want to try to serve them because this transaction, like I said, it's one of the biggest transactions they're gonna make, and we want to make sure that we're there to support them.
So, from your humble beginnings, what are a few of the challenges that you ran into, and what did you do to overcome those?
I mean, really, it's when I first started, I didn't really know too much.
Hmm.
I had to go to people that maybe did it before, but there wasn't really a wide network. Wasn't like we had a huge internet base where you could just go on a Facebook group and hey, how'd you do it? Like there wasn't a huge community for brokers. Everyone was kind of on their own island, so it was just really learning everything, figuring out how to get business, how to generate business, what other people were doing to be successful. We didn't have CRMs when we first got started, so it was really just changing from a transaction-based mindset to a relationship-based mindset. And that honestly took me a long time to figure out how to do that and how to grow the right way. So it was just really how am I going to, you know, get my team to produce more? How are we going to get better? How are we going to better serve the community? How am I going to make these new relationships with people to show that we have to offer? So that was one of the biggest hurdles, just learning more, figuring out how to operate a business, knowing that as a loan officer and a broker owner, I just don't do loans. I do, payroll, HR. I wear a lot of hats. I'm the marketing guy. So it's just kind of balancing and wearing all those hats. And then as we continue to grow, a big thing that I'm still dealing with right now is how to properly delegate, right?
Hmm.
So it's like comes to a point where you're doing a lot of loans and you got a lot of business and you have your team doing a lot and then you're trying to recruit, you have so many hats you can't do anything. So it's figuring out how to delegate and making sure that the people that you're delegating to know how to do it. And that's still something that I try to do every day. I try to give more tasks away so I could focus on, relationships more instead of, clerical work. So that's something that I'm working on, trying to get better at delegating, making sure my team is stronger, they're better, just to make sure that you and our clients just get the best overall experience.
So going back and thinking back now, what are some of the things that you didn't necessarily know back then that you'd probably tell yourself, hey, this is something that you need to focus on right now, and this is going to make you, 10 times.
Yeah. So, when I first started, we were sending out a lot of mail to get our business. I mean, we didn't have, like I said, Instagram wasn't around, all these things weren't, like CRMs weren't around. But when they did come around, I feel like if I would have invested more in like, the digital platforms when they first came out, I think that would have been a good strategy. But that's more of a long-term play. It's not like you could just, post a few videos and get, you know, a ton of deals. So I wasn't thinking about branding and building my audience and my sphere. I was more about, you know, getting the transactions in. So if I would have worked on building my sphere and my audience a long time ago, I probably could have solidified a lot more relationships that would probably be more fruitful today.
Hmm.
So that's one of the things I would do. Honestly, I would inherit, a CRM earlier. Like I said, they weren't around when I got started, but
Yeah.
right when they were available, I wish I would have. I would have, more clients that I probably would have kept in touch with from over 10 years ago that, it's harder for me to keep in touch with them now.
Yeah, instead of just, hitting them up like, hey,
Yeah.
hey, happy anniversary.
Yeah. Yeah.
I helped you fill out a loan application before.
Yeah.
How have you been?
Yeah. So something with a little more substance probably would have helped. I'm sure there's several other things I would have done differently, but those are a couple I could think of off the top of my head.
There's a whole bunch of real estate agents out here. There's a whole bunch of loan officers. Uh, at this time, at this year, you can literally throw a quarter out the window and hit, five of them
Yeah.
falling down. What makes you guys different, as as a unit or as a business model?
I think the market is definitely oversaturated right now. And I think a lot of people are in the business or they just recently got in the business for the wrong reasons. There's low hanging fruit. They're in it for the money. They're not in it to really help people and put them into better financial positions. Like for me, yes, I do a lot of loans where we pride ourselves in providing not only good customer service, because everyone says that, and everyone says they got the lowest rates, but whatever. But we really do. We try to have lower margins on loans. We try to focus on people over profits. We're not here to make a killing on every loan. We make a little bit on a lot of loans. So that's how we help our clients. Um, on your sides for agents, we always want to get better. We want your feedback. We want to provide value to you guys as well. So it's what can we do to get better? What can we do to make it a more streamlined process for you? So we're always trying to not only improve the client experience for the buyers, but it's
Hmm.
also for our partners as well. What separates ourselves more personally is our dedication to get better every day. Like I try to learn something new every day. I feel like if I'm not learning something new, I'm taking a step back. I
Hmm.
never am content with what I'm knowing. And it's not just with loans, it's about I'm trying to learn things about the financial markets every day, about tax laws, about other aspects that affect our business, and making relationships with professionals in these other industries so I could better, serve my clients. I feel
Hmm.
like there's a lot of loan officers in town, right? There's a lot of realtors in town. And it's just like a doctor, right? There's a lot of doctors, but if you're gonna have a major surgery, some doctors are better than one another. There's
Hmm.
the same tools, right? But if you were to pick a doctor with, 500 5-star reviews, is always great, a doctor that just got in the industry, I don't know. It's like maybe that doctor that just got in is really good, but maybe that guy with a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge that's at the top of his class, maybe he'd be more trusted.
Hmm.
Or like if you're going to pick a financial advisor, right? Would you rather have someone that just got their license, invest in your money, or would you rather invest it with like Warren Buffett? Now that not that I'm Warren Buffett or anything, but when you're making big decisions, you want to make sure you're with a trusted professional that actually knows what they're doing and actually taking steps and making sure that they're setting you up for right now and for 10 years down the line. Because this isn't about like right now. This is about getting you something right now, but also meeting your goals later in life to make sure that you're financially set.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I honestly, out of all the people that I've ever met, you definitely rank super high on most knowledgeable about upcoming laws, taxes, anything when it comes to. And I know you're not a tax advisor, but
No.
anything in the financial realm, like definitely you've definitely done your research and you definitely update me and my team all the time about what's currently happening, what you think is going to happen next.
Yeah. And I think that's important to help you guys add any knowledge I have. Like some realtors, they tell me things I don't know. I should do the same. I should give you updates because it all helps us get better. If we're learning something from each other, we're gonna get better every day. You being here helps me get better. So
Appreciate
yeah,
that, brother.
seriously, yeah.
Looking at what's currently happening now with the market, we're not going to go too far into the future. I know you don't have a crystal ball, but
Yeah.
what do you personally think is going to happen with Q1 of next year, 2023?
Well, we hope by the end of Q1 we see inflation numbers go down.
Hmm.
I think the Fed is doing everything possible to fight inflation, and they've said they're going to take aggressive measures to get inflation down. Mortgage rates basically fluctuate off inflation. When inflation goes up, rates go up, and that's kind of why we've seen interest rates go up so far this year. So if they're doing a lot to fight inflation, we do expect rates to drop, right? We do expect, a recession coming soon. That's been forecasted by a lot of financial experts. And historically, whenever we had a recession, interest rates have fallen as well. So we do think rates are going to fall. By how much, I'm not sure. There's still a strong demand. It's still technically a seller's market right now because there's less than 6 months inventory. So we think demand's going to stay strong. We think rates could drop. I am not 100% sure what it's going to do to home values. I don't see them tanking. Okay. I see potential for actually some upside. I think if rates drop, I think demand's going to spike and, more buyers are going to come back into the market.
What other trends should people be looking at? Should they be looking at CPI? Should they be looking at, even birth rates at that matter, unemployment rate?
Yeah, I mean, all those things factor in, right? But always comes down to supply and demand, right? If you look at 2008, I think there was like 16 months of supply in Sacramento. And that's just a ridiculous amount of supply that we had. And it outweighed the demand. But if we don't have enough demand, not enough houses, there's always going to be a strong demand. And I think if rates go down, it's really going to help bring the buyers back in and keep the market strong. I do think now is still a decent time to buy. I think a lot of people will always focus on the negatives of the market. Oh, rates are higher. This is high. Like no matter what the market is, even when rates are 2%, people were complaining about the market. Oh, it's too high. It's overpriced. Like they're always going to have some sort of objection where not to buy. But you have to focus on all the positives, like the seller paying for your closing costs, buying down your interest rate, you actually having inspections and being able to renegotiate price, buying a house for less than you could, earlier in the year. I mean, these are all huge advantages. Like you can never change what you paid for a house, but you can always change your interest rate.
Right now is the best time because you can actually get your offer
You
accepted.
can actually get your yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we were shooting out offers, and that like every single house was having like 100 showings, 50 showings, 20 offers, 15 offers, and we just couldn't get anything in unless we pretty much gave up everything to the sellers, right?
yep.
What
So
what were the craziest offers that you've seen?
I mean, I've seen people offer like, 50, 70K over the list price, and these aren't really that expensive houses. I mean, this is offering over 10% over the list price, but they still don't even have a chance. Like
Yeah.
they didn't even get their offers accepted. Waiving appraisal, waiving it didn't matter. Like there was always a cash guy or someone else coming in a little bit stronger. But that market was not a good market.
Hmm.
That was the market actually buyers shouldn't have bought in probably,
And
right?
everyone was buying.
Like you always like Warren Buffett, be greedy when others are fearful. Like that's the mentality. Like when things are on sale, when things are cheap, that's when you want to buy. So, and also I think people forget that real estate's it's a long-term play. You can't Most people don't get rich overnight. I look at real estate for the fact that over long-term appreciation. I've said it before in speeches, I think historically we've had a little over a 5% appreciation rate in Sacramento over the last 60 something years. So, you buy a house for 500 today, 10 years from now it could potentially be worth 800,000 if we were to hit that same trajectory about, 5% appreciation per year. So, it's more of a long-term play to build equity and build wealth. It's not something that you're going to get into now and, get rich tomorrow. Even if someone bought in the last peak in 2005 compared to now, I think home prices are still up over 30% or so. So, historically over time, real estate is going to pay off.
Hmm.
Yeah.
For the sellers out there, do you think that they're definitely going to be hitting that curve from appreciation that they've just gained?
I mean, it's possible, but I mean, like I said, it's a long-term play. I
Yeah.
mean, it depends on when they bought. They're probably still coming up. Any seller that sells now, they're not taking a loss unless they just bought like 6 months ago, which
Yeah,
I
yeah,
doubt is the case.
yeah.
Anyone bought pre-pandemic to now is up 20, 25%. So maybe even more, probably even more. I don't even know the numbers, but it's probably a lot more. But um, I think sellers just need to be realistic that it's not a bad time to sell either, because it's still technically a seller's market. It's just not a ridiculously strong seller's market where, you have 100 buyers at your door willing to do whatever it takes. And that was never a normal market. That was an anomaly where it's never really happened before. So you have to just get back to normal expectations. Like, pre-pandemic, this type of market was still a strong seller's market. It wasn't an ordinary to have a house sitting for 30 days and have a few offered and have no offers and having to negotiate below price. That's how markets were. So it should be like that. It should be balanced and fair.
So with the last 2, 3 years, we've had, tremendous growth in the real estate and in the loan industry. A whole bunch of people
Hmm.
getting in the business. Now they're getting a little bit, iffy. Maybe
Yeah.
this isn't the right business for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone's scared. I think right now SCR is looking at a potential decrease of 10% of the amount of realtors who are actually in the business.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for that agent that's, brand new to the business, or someone who may be a little bit older in the business but is like now a little bit weary on this subject?
Well, for me personally, I think a lot of people were just too busy the last 2 years, and they had a lot of low hanging fruit. It wasn't hard. They didn't really have to work for it. As a real estate professional, yes, you should specialize in real estate. You should have a lot of knowledge and you should educate yourself every day and invest in yourself. But you also have to remember that on top of just being a realtor, you're also an entrepreneur. So right now is a key time. Yes, if you don't have a bunch of business flowing in, you should be doing a podcast. You should be posting on social media. You should be taking classes to educate yourself. You should be networking. Like you should be doing other things to build your business and your platform, just to make sure that you're able to provide just a great client experience and the most education and just being the best you can be in your profession. It's not all about just how many deals am I going to close this month or where's my next lead going to come from. It's about investing in yourself, being a businessman, planting seeds for the now and the future. So it's all about having a positive mindset. We're in a cyclical business where things change, and it could be a roller coaster at Great America, or it could be, a ride at a kids ride at Disneyland. It's only a huge roller coaster if you make it. It's all mental.
Hmm.
There's going to be highs and lows, but you just got to kind of stay cool, stay even grounded. Don't get too high, don't get too low, right? And just know that, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but as long as you work hard, have a positive mindset and a growth mindset, and focus on just building your own business, I think everyone's going to be all right.
The 2023 that us new realtors are going to be experiencing, so is you, or so are you, so
Yeah.
are you, so is your team. What is something that you're currently working on for you and for your team to definitely get up to that next level in this business?
Well, it's things like this. We're working on our social media. We're working on staying more visible. We're working on building our brand and our audience. This year, I got licensed in a few more states. I added Texas. I added, Tennessee, Oregon, just a few other states, just to add to our umbrella. I feel like that helps because we have a lot of people relocating out of state, and to be able to service people in other states is helpful. Um, I'm working on revamping our CRM. I'm working on revamping our loan origination software. I'm just doing a lot of back end stuff to make sure that our operations run smoother. And hopefully that will provide a better experience for our clients because I couldn't really do that. I was so focused on doing loans the last couple of years. Some of the other, operations and things got neglected. I mean, we were doing well, but I feel like now's the time to make tweaks and adjustments for the process so, we can be more successful next year.
Kevin, thank you again so much for being here today. And, thank you again so much for being here again today in your office. uh, Last thing, what's the best way for people to reach out to you if they do want to work with you? Someone as experienced as you and someone who has a highly developed team to definitely help them get to their home.
Well, I mean, I would love to work with anyone out there. Whether you're ready now or a year from now, we'll put a game plan together. You could email me, you could call me, you could text me. Like, I really want to make sure our communication works well with you. So if you like texting, I'll text. If you'd rather give me a call, give me a call. I could provide all my contact information. Um, I'm easily accessible. Like, you could probably just Google my name and find my contact information. But um, really whatever way is best to communicate, I want to be able to service you in that fashion as well. So,
All right, thank you so much, bro.
all right, Brandon, you're the man, dude. I appreciate you coming out here.